Good morning. I am going to talk about natural and manufactured fibers today. I know that you guys have already turned in some definitions on it, but I wanted to go through this. I am going to begin to make ed puzzles so that as you guys go through the PowerPoints, you can look at the PowerPoint, listen to it, and then you'll have to answer some questions at the end instead of doing definitions. I feel like maybe this will help you guys learn more so than just copying and pasting definitions or writing them in your own words. So look for those to come in the future, but for now I'm just going to present this to you and talk a little bit about it like I would talk about it in class. So I know that one of the terms that some people had asked me about was fiber. And that is something that I typically talk about in class, and I show you where I actually have a piece of cotton. I hope you guys can see this. I have a piece of cotton, and then I take the cotton and I pass it around in class. I give everyone a little tiny piece of cotton, and I forget how many miles there are in one cotton bowl, but it's tons of fiber that's in here. So when we're talking about what the word fiber means, it's simply the smallest unit of a textile. So if I were to take and pull this apart like this, you guys can see those little itty bitty hair-like fibers coming out. That is a fiber. That is where your yarn is made. And later on in this unit, we're going to talk about how the fibers are spun by a spinning wheel or a spinning, you guys remember the spinning jenny. In the first unit 1.01, they take the fibers and they actually spin them by turning and turning and turning and turning them, and then eventually you come up with this little itty bitty piece of yarn that is then stretched and pulled into a finer piece, and that is what your fabric is made out of. So fiber that we have here, this is just a natural plant fiber, cotton. That is the smallest unit of a textile. That is the beginning of textiles. Textiles can mean anything from the fiber to the yarn to the fabric itself. So I added this slide in here in case you guys couldn't find it. Fiber is the smallest unit of a textile, and it's just simply the hair-like fibers. You can have, we'll talk about this later on, the differences in the fibers. So let me just go to the next slide and talk about the characteristics. You have a variety of characteristics, and the more that you know about the characteristics, the better you'll be when you start being a real designer and understanding what fabrics you should choose to make your dresses or your garments. There's abrasion resistance, which is basically, if you think about a pair of jeans, if you guys have ever purchased a pair of Levi's, you will know that the knees on a pair of Levi's are going to last you a whole lot longer than the knees on a pair of cheaper branded jeans. You may go to Abercrombie. Abercrombie is one of those stores that I know their jeans are extremely expensive, but they last a really long time. I have a pair of pants that I got from American Eagle 21 years ago, and I still wear them. They are still in great condition. It's because they have a very high abrasion resistance. The fibers that they are made out of and the way that they are woven is definitely a better quality than some of your other fibers. So abrasion resistance is just how much wear and tear can it take when you rub it against something. Absorbency is basically just like, think about the paper towels. How much can a paper towel absorb? How much water does it pick up? There are certain types of towels and certain types of fabrics that are going to absorb a lot more than others, and it's all in the way that it is woven. The durability, or even knitted, the durability, and the fiber as well, when you go back to absorbency and with the type of fiber, which one is more absorbent than others. So durability refers to how long you will be able to wear something or use a particular garment or item. You can have silk that will last you hundreds of years, because silk is a very durable fabric. Denim is a very durable fabric, and that goes into the type of fiber that is used, as well as the weave that is used with it. Elasticity is the ability to increase in length and or tension and return to its original length when it's released. Elasticity in fabrics, if you think about how today, you can take, ladies, I'm speaking to you for the most part right now, you can take a very small swimsuit that looks about this big and you can stretch it this big. And then what happens whenever you take it off, it goes back down to its smaller size. So that is elasticity. That's just basically what it means. If you can stretch it out a really long way, and then it goes right back, or, guys, with let's say your sweatpants, you can stretch that elastic waistband really wide, and then when you take it off, it's going to go back to its normal shape. That's elasticity. The hand is basically the way something feels. When I used to work in a designer fabric store in Atlanta, they would call on the phone, customers would call on the phone sometimes, and they would say, what type of hand does this fabric have? And so you would have to describe to them what it feels like. It's basically, hand is just another way of saying texture. Resiliency is the ability to be able to spring back. That's not necessarily elasticity. Resiliency, I want you to think about this in a pair of sweatpants or something that is made of knit. When you were younger and you guys used to have to sit crisscross applesauce all the time in elementary school, if you wore a pair of leggings or a pair of sweatpants, if you would stand up and the knees would still kind of stick out a little bit, they were not very resilient. They did not go back to their natural shape. Whereas some of your higher end leggings or more expensive sweatpants, they are going to be more resilient. They are going to go back into shape. Nylon has a huge resiliency. If you think about pantyhose or tights, they are extremely resilient. They're going to go back into shape without forming to your body. Strength is the ability to withstand tension or pulling. That is man-made fiber. Nylon, again, polyester, tencel. Think about a man's golf shirt, how it feels, or that the moisture-wicking fabrics like the athletic wear. You can pull it as much as you want, and it is not going to break. Whereas some of your cottons and more natural fibers that may not be as strong as some of the manufactured fibers are not going to have the strength that, unless they're combined with a polyester or something, they're not going to have the same strength that your manufactured fibers are going to have. Warmth is the ability of a fiber to maintain body heat of the wearer. Most of your protein, like your animal fibers, are going to have a lot of warmth. And, if you think about animal fibers such as sheep's wool, we wear Angora rabbit hair, any type of fur. Long time ago, the Indians and first settlers that were coming here had, they maybe were not accustomed to the cold environment where they were located, and so they would not only eat the animals that they would kill, but you think about if they had bears or deer, which was one of the most popular choices of food, and coverings. They would use the skins with the hair on it as bed coverings to lay on and to wrap up with. They also would wear them. They would take the entire skin and make like a poncho out of them. So the warmth or the ability of a fiber to maintain body heat is just warmth. One natural fiber that is very similar to wool is acrylic. It mimics acrylic, so it's like a fake wool. The last one is wicking, and I don't think I included the wicking video on your set of slides or set of videos. Now that I'm thinking about it, I may have. I'll have to go back and check. But wicking is really, really cool because it takes a fiber and it can draw the moisture all the way down to the end of the fiber and evaporate from your body. So if you are wearing socks in the winter, it's the best description I think I can give you. If you're wearing cotton socks, cotton has a very low wicking ability. It holds the moisture. Cotton is something that you want to wear in the summer so that if you sweat, you still have that moisture in your shirt, and that's actually going to keep you cooler than something that is going to, well, that's hard to say. Fabrics like the sports fabrics that wick the fabric or wick the moisture away, they're very lightweight fabrics, so they're also going to keep you cool. They're going to keep you warm in the winter as well. So think about cotton as having a very low wicking ability. It absorbs the water. It does not dry very quickly, whereas your sports fabrics like spandex, nylons, those are some of the two, tencels, those have the ability to pull the moisture away from your body, and it travels down the end until it reaches the end of your shirt or the end of your sleeve or wherever it is, and it just evaporates. Now, the only bad thing about fabrics that are high in a wicking ability, they can trap smells, and so you really need to make sure that you launder those like immediately or soon after you wear them, because once that smell gets in there, it is difficult to get it out. They have started making those fabrics, some of the higher end golf shirts and higher end exercise wear. Ladies, if you take dance or you play a sport, and some of those exercise pants are $80 or $90, and you're thinking, oh my gosh, why are these pants $80 or $90? I can go over there to Sophie and I can get a pair for $20. Well, it's because they've been treated with something to remove or prevent the moisture, like the smell, the body odor from sticking around in the clothing. So that's why you're really paying for clothing that are more expensive. Are they all going to wick the moisture away from your body? Absolutely. But especially your man-made or manufactured fibers. But the wicking ability is great. But if you don't have that chemical makeup in there to take the smell away or prevent the smell from sticking in, it can be bad. Okay, so let's talk about natural fibers. There are different natural fibers. You have cellulosic, which if you just think about what is a cell, going back to science class, a cell is anything that's living and breathing. So your cellulosic natural fibers are basically plant-derived. The cotton plant is cellulosic. It comes from a plant. The flax plant, or flax linen comes from flax. It comes from a plant. Cotton these are just some of the characteristics. I'll go through these really quick. I know you've probably already read it, but it's soft, absorbent, comfortable, wrinkles easily, absorbs perspiration quickly, strong and durable, inexpensive, it does not peel, and blends well. So if you guys are not familiar with peeling, if you've ever bought a pair or your parents have bought a set of really cheap sheets and you sleep on them a few times and they get those little balls on them, that is peeling. Or if you buy a sweater that maybe doesn't have the highest quality cotton in it, and it gets little tiny balls on it, that is peeling. That's what that means. The fibers break more easily. Flax, commonly called linen, comes from the flax plant. It is the oldest fiber known to man. It's cool and comfortable. It wrinkles extremely easily. It's strong, durable, and lustrous. This is one of the strongest fibers as well. It also shrinks an extreme amount. So in my class, if kids have used linen to make something, I always tell them to buy what the pattern says and to wash it before they make it, because chances are that if they don't wash it, well, I know that it's going to shrink. So you have to be very careful when you're making things with linen. A lot of your natural fibers are going to shrink more so than your manufactured fibers. So we have protein fibers, your wool and silk. Just think about protein. Animals have blood in them, and I guess this is why they call them protein fibers. Protein fibers basically just come from animal sources. So your natural cellulosic fibers are coming from plants, so think about what comes from a plant, and then your protein fibers are coming from animal resources, such as wool from sheep and silk from the silkworm. Wool is hard-wearing and absorbs moisture. It's a natural insulator, does not wrinkle easily, it traps odors, and it's flame resistant. So it absorbs moisture, but it also has a very high wicking property. So it's able to absorb the moisture, pull it away from your body, and wick it out through the other end of the fiber. Silk is versatile and very comfortable. It absorbs moisture. It's cool to wear in the summer, yet it's also warm in the winter. It can be dyed easily. It retains its shape and is relatively smooth, poor resistance to sunlight exposure, and it's the strongest natural fiber and very lustrous. Lustrous meaning shiny. You guys should have watched the silk video on silkworms, and you could see when they boil the cocoons, the silk, they can extract all of that silk through the cocoons and make very long continuous fibers, which are called filament fibers. So cotton fibers, if you can see here, the cotton is very, very tiny. Let me put it up against this black so you can see it. The cotton fibers, if I were to pull one of these off and put it on here, it's about the size of a staple, okay? So that's why they're called staple fibers. Very small, short fibers are called staple fibers. Your long, continuous fibers, which a lot of them are man-made or manufactured fibers, silk is a filament fiber because it is one long, continuous piece. All right, manufactured fibers can be made into staple or filament fibers. It really just depends on the blend. The manufactured fibers can be made up of plants, which sounds crazy because you think of plants as being a natural fiber. They are natural fibers, but some of your manufactured fibers use wood pulp as the main ingredient to make up the cellulosic fibers in manufactured fibers. So what they do is they basically take the wood pulp from a variety of different stalks and plants, and they will mix it with a chemical or different molecules of nitrogen, hydrogen, oxygen, and carbon, and create manufactured fibers. Okay, they can also take the wood pulp and just extract it through a process with these chemicals or with these different molecules, and create a variety of different fibers. So it's not just one specific thing. Like rayon mimics silk, and rayon is the oldest manufactured fiber that there is. The process you guys should have watched in the video. The process, it's called, the video is called the process of a spinning dope, I think. And it's basically where they take the solid raw material, let's say the wood pulp, and they put it into containers and they extract it through, well, it's melted and then it's changed to a liquid, and then the liquid is extruded through this spinneret thing right here. Looks kind of like a shower head. And as it comes out, it forms a hardened fiber strand. The different kinds of manufactured fibers are rayon. Like I said, it's the oldest manufactured fiber, the very first manufactured fiber. Acetate, and acetate is that's like a silk type feeling fiber. Nylon, that's what your pantyhose are made out of. Olefin is used in carpets. Olefin is also used in your upholstery. It's one of the strongest fibers as well. Polyester is used in almost everything. Polyester is the one manufactured fiber that is easily blended with other fibers or natural fibers and it's also inexpensive to blend. So that's the one that you're going to see the most that's the manufactured fiber that you're going to see the most blended with your natural fibers. And then spandex. It only takes a tiny bit of spandex to be blended with a natural fiber to make it stretchy. Think about a stretchy pair of jeans that you might have, or a shirt that it says 80% cotton, 18% polyester, and 2% spandex. That 2% spandex is going to give that elasticity, or all the elasticity that it needs to be able to stretch. And then we have lyocell. Lyocell is new, and it is used often in your athletic wear and sports shirts because of its good wicking properties. And it's also very strong. Then we have some specialty fibers, and you're looking at these going, well, why are these not protein fibers? They are protein fibers, but they're also extremely rare and expensive. It's rare that you're going to find 100% Angora rabbit or 100% mohair goat fibers, because they are not the availability is limited, and it's extremely expensive to process these and make an entire garment out of it. So we basically have covered all the characteristics here and the types of fibers. Make sure that you guys have watched these videos. They are there to help you gain a better understanding, because a lot of what I have on here is what I teach you in class, but you aren't in class, so I'm just depending on you to make sure that you watch this.